Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Angeli. If you're coming across me for the first time, thank you for stopping by. I make videos centered around living and thriving in the United Kingdom with a focus on Scotland. If you like the content of my channel, do subscribe and click the notification bell to get notified when I upload a new video. So today I'll be discussing the sad rental scam case of a young man which was featured on BBC, and I will discuss some of the lessons from this guy's experience and how we can all avoid falling into the hands of these scammers. So this young man in question came into the UK as an international student, and following his studies he needed somewhere to rent, and I'm guessing he may have been in the university accommodation whilst he was studying. So he had only 1 week to get a place, so he was quite desperate and worried he might end up homeless if he did not find a place to rent within the 1 week he had. He then found a listing for a 2-bedroom flat in Stratford, London in an online platform called OpenRent. And he actually went up to the place and viewed the flat, and all seemed good and legit, and he was given the paperwork to fill in order to process his request to rent the flat. According to the young man, the paperwork looked genuine, and he even checked the name of the letting agency and the listed landlord online, and it all checked out. So he proceeded to pay for 6 months rent and a deposit worth 5 weeks rent in advance, which was required because he had no guarantor. And I'm guessing he needed a guarantor because either he was not employed, or he was newly employed, or he was not earning the amount of money required of a person seeking to rent the kind of place he wanted to rent, or he had no referee. But in any case, in all, he paid £13,000 upfront to secure this property, or so he thought. Unfortunately, it turned out that the people who posed as the letting agents who showed him around when he went to view the property were scammers who had rented the property through another online platform called Booking.com, and they rented the apartment simply for the purpose of scamming people. And the young man only started suspecting that all was not well when he got an email saying that the advert for letting the flat had been taken down due to suspected fraudulent activities. So he quickly called the letting agent, and can you imagine that they told him to not worry at all, that all is well. And in fact, they told him that he should meet them at the property to get the keys. On getting to the property, the real occupants of the property opened the door and told this man in question that he was not the first person who had showed up at the property thinking they were going to move in. So in other words, the scammers had duped him and several others who thought they made payment for an available property. It turns out that even though he tried to verify the authenticity of the letting agency and the landlord, it all checked out because the scammers had used real letting agency and the real landlord's name. So when he searched for the letting agency and landlord online, it showed up looking genuine. Honestly, this is really sad indeed. Imagine being conned out of £13,000. You know how many months it would take most UK workers to save that amount of money. And according to BBC, this type of scam is on the rise. So we all need to wise up and protect our hard-earned money. There are a few lessons we can draw from this guy's experience, and few things which I think one can do to reduce the risk of falling into the hands of these wicked scammers. And the first lesson / how we can avoid falling into the hands of these scammers is to try as much as possible not to be so desperate when looking for a place to rent, especially if you'll be renting for the first time and you'll be paying a lot of money up front. If you're new to renting, you should really consider looking for a house share rather than trying to rent a place by yourself. And this is to minimize the need to pay huge amounts of money upfront. Even if you think you have enough money or you are making enough money to afford your monthly rent, once you don't meet up the earning threshold for renting the sort of place you are looking to rent, or if you don't have a UK renting history, you'll be required to get a guarantor who will accept to pay the rent if you default. And it's very difficult to find someone who will accept such responsibility on your behalf. So most likely, you will have to pay several months upfront. So house share is a good way to break into renting, and I don't mean teaming up with a number of people to rent a place, but I mean going for a room in what they call house of multiple occupancy. So you go for a room there, and there will be other people already living in the property. The requirement to rent an HMO is not as strict as renting a house or flat by yourself. And even if you have to pay for several months upfront because you don't have a referee, it will be far cheaper, and because there are other people living in the property, it will be nearly impossible for scammers to get hold of the property to show potential tenants without being fished out. Secondly, I would suggest going to the letting agent's office before any money exchanges hands. Thankfully, we are no longer on lockdown and most businesses have an office presence. So you should really endeavor to go to their office, especially if you're going to be paying a huge amount of money upfront. Even if you make the payment and fill the paperwork online, just make sure you at least go into their office and interact with someone in the office before you hand over your money. My last suggestion is that if for some reason you cannot go into the letting agent's office, you should at least Google the letting agency, and if it comes up as genuine, don't just stop there. Go to their website and call the number on there and speak with people there to confirm they are the same as the people you're about to hand your money to. Sometimes the scammers have a way of getting you to their fake number and you will think you're speaking to the real agents, whereas you're speaking to the scammers. But if you Google the agency and not just type in a name or link given to you by the people who showed you their property, most times, you'll be able to reach the real agents and they will confirm if they are truly the ones letting the property. This is why experts advise that if someone calls you claiming, for instance, to be from your bank and asking you for sensitive information or even to make a payment, they always advise that you should hang up and go to your bank's website and call the number on the website. That way, you will be able to ascertain if the people who called you are genuine or fake. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in my next video.